Our next guest is not only a world-class broadcaster, but a world-class human being. Great dude. He taught me if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. Inter Miami color analyst and former MLS Coach of the Year, Thomas Rongen, is with us. Thomas, how you been, sir?
I'm great, Dono. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. I've been doing a lot better these last couple of months since Lionel Messi has been wearing pink and black. I will tell you that. It's been a lot of fun watching, even if it hasn't been MLS games yet. We'll get into that tomorrow. Watching these tournaments have been a lot of fun. And Thomas, I'm curious as what were your expectations for Messi's, first handful of games? Has he met those or even exceeded those so far?
Absolutely exceeded those, both on and off the field. And Donna, you know this. I played in the NASL. I saw the emergence of Pele, who put soccer on the map, obviously, in this country in 1975. I was part of the 94 World Cup for the first time in the U.S. I was part of MLS in its first years, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Mutiny. I coached against David Beckham. That was obviously big as well. The DP rule really followed after Beckham game, but what Messi has done in this short amount of time is insane. He's a cheat code. He has normalized plays that are usually very difficult, and the greatest players in all sports, be it maybe LeBron James was the last player in South Florida over a decade ago that could say that, and Otani, because these guys can hurt you so many different ways. Wayne Gretzky, who can score but also assist, just like Leo Messi does as well. And even by his own standards, in 8 games, 10 goals from 25 shots. And based on simulating those shots 1.5 million times, the probability of an average player doing that is 0.042. How's your day going?
Not that good.
It's incredible. And Thomas, I think that's what has really captivated not only the South Florida audience, because, look, the second Messi got here with the South American fan base, especially the Argentinos, who are very present at all these Inter Miami games, home and away, I might add. I think what's really captivated the American audience is that it's not just the winning, and it's not just at times how seamless it's looked. It's that Messi is providing unbelievable moments in every single game. Even their most recent victory in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal, he didn't have to score. He found other ways to be impactful. It's always been such a big part of his game, getting teammates involved. But he's provided one of those wow moments every single time he's been in pink with Inter Miami.
Amazing. And I've been very fortunate being part of being sports with Ray Hudson and, some other great guys like Phil Shane that have called Messi games when he played for Barcelona. I've done pretty much every game because beIN Sports owns the rights to Ligue 1 for PSG. And as you said, in every game there are many wow moments. And that's not just the assist. That second assist to Leo Campana is just out of this world for them to get back in the game in these semifinals on the road against Cincy. To get it to OT is just freakish. It's just crazy. And in every game I've called for the last 5, 6, 7 years, there are those big, as you mentioned, wow moments. Even the way he walks at times, and all of a sudden, boom, there he is, and his instinct and soccer IQ and understanding what is given by the opponent and then being able to take that, making other players better as well, which is so important because a Robert Taylor has benefited, a Joseph Martinez, a Leo Campana in the last game, but also the emergence of 2 or 3 very young players. I mean, out of the last 5 games, they had to go to penalties to survive and get through or win a trophy, which they did in the Nations League, obviously, again on the road against Nashville that had not lost at home. And here's a 19-year-old David Ruiz stepping up. Here's an 18-year-old Benja Kremansky, a local Florida kid from Doral, stepping up and burying the 5th penalty to win it, both against Dallas and in the Open Cup against Cincy. Yes, Messi is the headliner, but there's so many good things happening with this team that includes, obviously, the goalkeeper, Drake Callender.
You bring up Benja Kremansky. How about this idea? I'm trying to champion this effort, Thomas. You tell me if you like it or if you don't, and if you don't, we move on. But I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you are. Cremaschi is from Key Biscayne, a Key Biscayne local, and they have Crandon Park out in Key Biscayne. I've kind of been trying to push this effort, rename Crandon Park to Cremaschi Park. Let's do it already. This kid's already a local legend.
He certainly is a local legend and very much on the radar of both the Argentinian youth and men's national team and the U.S. as well. He's in the provisional list of 50 players for the next two games under Greg Berhalter for the U.S. men's national team. So vying for dual citizen has started already with the U.S. and Argentina. So giving him the park his name can only help him hopefully staying here. So I'm all for it.
I love it. Thomas Rongen is with us, and by the way, he will be on the call on this radio station tomorrow night. Pre-game at 7 p.m., kickoff at 7:30, Inter Miami taking on New York Red Bulls. And, Thomas, Messi has already played, nearly 10 games in an Inter Miami shirt, but it's going to be his MLS debut because they played Leagues Cup and U.S. Open Cup. So we finally get the MLS debut. And, before I actually saw this just insane run of form. Not only is Messi on, we knew how world-class he is, of course, but just how much better he's made the rest of the squad. Before his arrival, I would have said, hey, digging your way out of last place in MLS, it might be too tall of a hill to climb. Now I have little doubts, Thomas, that they can get into the playoffs and make a run. I mean, have they already dug too deep of a hole, or how much of a run can they make in MLS and hopefully the MLS playoffs coming up?
Yeah, I mean, and there's clearly challenges with 12 games left. They probably don't know normally, and I coached 4 teams in MLS, 42, 44. Some years it was 45 or 46 points, get you into 9th position. 18 teams make it to the playoffs, and obviously we've dug ourselves a big hole. What concerns me, Dono, is that they've played 8 games in a month. They're going again this Saturday. They're coming back to play Charlotte at home. They're on the road next Saturday in L.A. Travel, climatic conditions. And by the way, the heat, not just here, but anywhere else in the United States have wreaked havoc as well. In saying that, they have 18 points from their first 22 games. What's the probability? That's a great question. You probably have to average 2.4 points a game. So that means at least you got to win 8 of 12. I would almost think probably 9 of 12 and maybe a draw. So you can afford losing 2. If other teams, give you a favor here and there, you might be able to sneak in with 3 losses. But it's a tall order, no doubt about it. But who is going to bet against an Inter Miami team with Messi who've won 8 straight? But sooner or later, Tata Martino needs to look at the health of his team, the older players, includes, by the way, Busquets and Jordi Alba. Where do you give them rest?
And that's exactly the perfect lead-in, because I was wondering about that. And you're right, it's not just Messi. Like there are other players in their 30s that are going to need some maintenance, because it's not really been a factor to this point. But now the fixture list gets pretty congested. Solana was telling me they've got 4 games coming up within an 8-night span. So there's going to have to be some maintenance, right? And then, Thomas, I already know what's going to happen, because I figure if Messi is sat out of any games for rest purposes, likely to be road games, not home games, I can't wait to see the complaining that comes from the fans of those teams that are like, I paid all this money to see Messi and he didn't play.
Real quick, I coached DC United when Freddie Adu at 14-year-old signed a contract. And part of MLS and the other owners, part of his contract that he had to play in every game. I kept telling the league, he's not ready. I can lose my job. I can lose games playing Freddie Adu. But they sold, just like Beckham, just like Freddie Adu, bit of a freak show on the road, sold a lot of tickets, sold out stadiums. I think that he will travel to every game. I think he will play. Now, the amount of minutes, that's obviously the big question mark. Starting this Saturday, we'll find out what Tata Martino, Inter Miami, and the rest of the league, quite frankly, can expect going forward.
You bring up Tata Martino and his tactics as a manager and how he's going to have to figure out how to balance the minutes and the rest for, some of these players on the team. But what about looking back to their last win in that U.S. Open Cup semifinal? They're going up against the team in MLS. I know it was U.S. Open Cup play, but FC Cincinnati, who had the most wins up to that point in MLS play. So this is one of the best teams in this league. And Tata Martino, who is known for playing a 4-3-3 formation, decides he wants to change to a 5-3-2. I think he added Aviles in the back five, give Inter Miami a bit more support on the back line. But it took that team, in my opinion, Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, a bit more time to settle their opportunities moving forward. There weren't as many as we had seen in the past couple games with Inter Miami. And then he makes a couple substitutes. He brings in Bobby Taylor and a couple other guys, and things started to really seem to work a little bit better for them moving forward. Do you expect another change in the formation from Tata Martino going into New York tomorrow, or do you expect him to go back to that 4-3-3 that we're so used to watching him play?
Yeah, interesting. Obviously, he mirrored and looked at the opponent. I also think firmly with the Cincinnati lost at home this year that he wanted to throw something different at Pat Noonan and his coaching staff and his team that probably prepped for days leading up to this game in their shadow practice, when you say this is what the opponent's going to give us. And he's played predominantly out of a 4-3-3, so I think he wanted to throw him a little bit of a masterclass coaching change in terms of formation and also adding 4 new players, and that really did not work out for Tata Martino and his team. He made the adjustment, which is important, that coaches acknowledge sometimes through the run of play, I got to go back to a 4, which he did. They were trailing as well, so he was very proactive in inserting midfielders or creative players, goal scorers, and taking defenders of midfielders off. So he made the adjustment. But the interesting part, real quick, is that, yes, he is a big proponent of the 4-3-3. He's coached Barcelona, so you get no choice. But also with the Argentinian national team and with Mexico.
Right.
Although with Atlanta United in 2018, if you look at formations and you look at the final, for instance, which they won, Tata Martino played out of a 3-5-2. And it might be the league where he goes, this is a system that might work better in this league. It's a little bit more athletic and physical. Only time will tell if he goes back to the 4-3-3 or if he continues to, change formations based on the opponent, but also based on his own playing style. And players ultimately determine your playing style and your formation.
That is a masterclass of insight from Thomas Rongen, who's going to be on the call tomorrow night alongside Phil Shane right here on WQAM, Inter Miami at New York Red Bulls, 7 p.m. pregame tomorrow, kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Thomas, thank you so much for taking the time and enjoy the call.
And go Heat, although I'm telling you, great info there from your partner in crime. So real quick, I have a question for you. Who in the NBA, who on the Heat resembles the most Leo Messi? Is there anybody that comes close?
On this team right now, Thomas?
Yeah, or maybe in general in the NBA. Well, if Messi comes to mind, you say in the NBA,
yeah,
this is a guy that can.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the easy pick there, right, is LeBron James, right? Because he impacts every facet of the game. Yeah. He can create, he can score at will, and he always seems to rise to the occasion in the biggest moments. But I'll say Jimmy Butler just showed us he's capable of doing the same thing, right, Thomas? I mean, that game, that game 4 and 5 against Milwaukee in the first round, I know you're a big Heat fan, but he's always trying to get his teammates involved, and he's this larger-than-life character, but he always seems like a very humble person as well. Yeah. I really think, not to just pick the easy LeBron or Jimmy Butler because they're the best players, I do think, when you talk about how it translates over to the court, I think they resemble the GOAT Messi a bit on the basketball court.
Right. That's great too. Talking about the word humble, obviously, which Messi throughout his stay here, given the armband to DeAndre Yedlin after DeAndre Yedlin was asked by Tata Martino, you're the captain. You can stay the captain. You can give it to Messi. It's up to you. Yedlin decided to do that. And just before they hoisted the cup, Messi actually, wait. Took his armband out, give it to Yetlin, and they both hoisted the cup. That's Lionel Messi as well.
And even allowing Josef Martinez in his first couple games to take those penalty kicks. I thought it was a great show of character. Thomas, one quick question on your way out. I mean, Leo Messi's from Argentina. I'm from Uruguay. So, similar cultures, and I know Messi is famous for carrying his mate around. Have you seen that, him drinking his mate here since he's joined Inter Miami?
With quite a few Argentines. Well, we're starting going back to Higuain and stuff like that. Mate is not far away from most Argentinians. Not all of them, by the way.
Right. Have you tried it, Thomas, or are you going to try it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I made a point when I was the coach of the under-20 men's national team. I went to 3 under-20 World Cups to go once a year to the Bombonera with my team to play Argentina and some other friendlies games and watch a Boca River game, and obviously we all tried the mate. It's not for me, but I can see why people like it. And by the way, we played Uruguay in the round of 16 in the 2007 World Cup. The two frontrunners were Luis Suarez and Cavani, and we beat Uruguay in the round of 16 with a Michael Bradley goal after we'd beaten Brazil, by the way, as well. So on any given day, a U.S. team can upset some powerhouses.
Yep, definitely.
Can either of you, because I've heard of mate, never tried it, can either of you, maybe Solana might be the better person to ask this because he's had it more than once. Like, what does mate even taste like?
It's very bitter, but in Argentina, so the way it works is it's a herbal tea in a cup, and you fill it with water, and then you drink it. But in Argentina, they actually fill the water with sugar to try to sweeten it a little bit. But at Thomas and Uruguay, we just go straight mate, no sugar in our water. Right?
There you go. Real men come from Uruguay.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Sir. Thank you, Thomas.
Good stuff here. Thomas, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the call.
Ciao, guys. Thanks for having me.